Hi friends, Mindy here. I have a process video for you today. I am going to be covering this journaling Bible, this little pocket Bible, and using the kit from Bythewell4God. This coordinates with the devotional Follow Me. And I decided when I heard about what the content was going to be this month with that devotional, I would go ahead and do this Bible, and I'm going to actually create it with the anticipation of giving it away. We're talking about following Jesus and what that looks like and different things, and so I thought this would be a good way to include some scriptures like that, and then maybe I can use this and give it away at some point in the future. So you see me here just kind of pulling all the things out of the kit. If you've never seen one of these kits before at Bythewell4God, they come out with a colorway sometimes that matches the devotional kit, but they also have other colorways on the website. So be sure to check that out. I will put my affiliate link down below. But what it comes with is some pieces of fabric. There's two different ones you can use that will actually fit to cover your Bible, and then some coordinating fabrics that you can use to help decorate it. Now, this particular Bible is this bright teal color, which actually works really perfectly with the kit. But I'm going to be using that fabric there that's kind of white, and so it's real thin and see-through almost, and so I didn't want that teal kind of peeking through there. So what I'm going to do is just paint my Bible. So I'm using some Dina Wakley white gesso here. I use this because it's nice and thick, and so I can get some good coverage, and I'm going to apply it ends up being like 2 coats of gesso to this cover. So and going back to what's in the kit, if you haven't seen one of these kits before, there's also 4 sheets of stickers that are sized appropriately for this Bible, and then there's also a bunch of journaling cards that are just like dot grid so that you can do your entries on those. So basically everything that you need to cover this Bible is in this kit except for a glue, and the adhesive that they recommend is called Cocoina. They do sell it in the shop. You can also get it on Amazon. It's a starch-based adhesive. It's made from almonds. So anyway, you can, if you're interested in that, it's a really soft glue stick, and so it just works really well. So the first thing that I'm going to do here, I have these little clips. I get asked about these all the time. I've had them for years. I got them in my local grocery store in, I think, like near the automotive area. So, but they work great for bookbinding and different things. So I'm just using them to kind of position this fabric where I want it. I'm trying to get as much of that little truck there on the front as possible. So this kind of takes some tweaking just to get it exactly where I wanted. If you weren't worried about the pattern, obviously that wouldn't be an issue, but I also knew I wanted to add some of this coordinating blue fabric on there, so I was trying to make sure I wasn't covering up like the front part of the truck. So you can see I just maneuvered that back and forth, and then now I'm going to the back side. This is kind of how I always start, and I'm just giving this a good coat. You don't want to add too much because it can seep through your fabric. That's why using a glue stick is better than liquid adhesive. I would say if you do use a liquid adhesive, just make sure to put like a really thin coat and to kind of smooth it out, because it can leak through the fabric and it kind of can make it hard, or it can even stain in some instances. So but these Cocoina glue sticks are really good. I kind of work in sections, so I did the back side, and now I'm going to do the spine part, and then I'll come around to the front. And I've covered these a few times on my channel, different ones, but I just thought I would do another one in case you needed some inspiration for this one. But there's been several process videos that have been done about how to do this, but it's always a fun project to do. So I thought I would just video it while I was doing it. So I'm just, you can see I'm tucking the fabric around, but I'm not actually gluing it on the inside just yet. I'm just kind of doing the cover right now. And I want to add this little blue piece just kind of around the spine. And I don't have a whole lot of space here on the front to be able to get that on there, but I went ahead and tore a rough edge. I just kind of, made a scissor cut, and then like I'm going to do here, and then I just tore it just because I like the little frayed edge of the fabric. And so I also have this seam binding that I got from, it's called Scrap Cabin, I think, that's already been dyed and crinkled and everything. And I've had this for a while, and this seemed like a good project to do it. I'm going to use this as a closure. I thought I was going to do it kind of around the outside of it, but I didn't want to cover up that little truck. And if I'm moved it above or below it, then it wouldn't be centered, and that just wasn't working in my mind. So I'm going to still use that, but I'm going to adhere it in a different way. So right now I'm just going to add this little bit of fabric here. And again, just right over the top of the fabric, I'm adding that Cocoina glue stick. And you do have a second to, you know, kind of maneuver, but it does dry pretty quickly. So, and again, I started with the front and did a little bit, and then I just work in sections as I'm wrapping this around. I feel like I just get the best results this way when I kind of do it a little bit at a time. And it doesn't matter that it's not lined up with the other paper, because all that's going to get tucked away and hidden and everything. So I'm just going to give this just a minute here to dry, and then I'm opening up my Bible, and I'm going to work on wrapping it around the edges. But the first thing I need to do is trim. So I want to cut the corners just a little bit, not too closely, because I need to kind of pleat this around in order to get the kind of the rounded corners. If this was a square Bible, I would actually cut these just a little bit differently. And then I also need to make some cuts around the text block so that I can tuck those little pieces down in the spine. So I'm just making a couple V-shaped cuts on either side of basically where the text block, you know, all of the pages of the book are. So you can kind of see those cuts here. And I'm just going to start, whenever you're wrapping, it's best if you can do like opposite sides. So I'm going to do the top and the bottom first, and then I will come around and do the side pieces. And that just gives you a really nice finished edge. So I'm just gluing this down, and again, it sticks pretty well. And then I'm just using my little clips here just to hold it while it's drying. And then I need to do the corners, and like I said, these are rounded. So I'm basically going to kind of I put some adhesive, put some of this glue stick, and then I'm going to kind of almost pleat it around. I'm just kind of laying it over on top of each other. And you can see here, I'm just kind of pinching it together, adding a little more glue, pinching it together, and just kind of working my way around. And then I will put one of those clips right there on that corner, because that's the kind of the bulkiest part, because it's got so many layers of the fabric. But that's kind of how they're done whenever like a book that's covered in leather or whatever, around rounded corners, you kind of just pleat it around there. So I have that drying. I'm just going to let that sit for a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the other side as well. I'll do that off camera so you don't have to see me do that. But now both of them are glued down, and I need to get these little pieces tucked down in the spine. So I am using a very fancy paper clip, and I've just opened up the one edge, and I put some adhesive on both pieces of fabric, and now you can see I have pulled back the cover. That just opens up that spine section, and because it's a rounded spine, it's actually really easy to do. You can just tuck it right in there with your little paper clip or pokey tool or an awl, you know, whatever. The paper clip works great. So I just have that tucked in there, and now basically my cover is wrapped. But before I add in the end papers to cover up that teal section, I want to include the seam binding for my closure. I thought maybe I would add some lace. I decided against that. That's why that's sitting there. But so what I'm going to do is the same adhesive. I'm just going to roughly in the middle add a strip of that, and then I'm going to kind of flatten out this seam binding just so that it's nice and flat under the end papers. And roughly in the middle, I didn't measure it, but I just kind of eyeballed it. And then I'm going to just glue that down. And then I will do this on the back side as well, trying to kind of line up the two pieces, because that'll just make it easier to tie. And then these are the end papers. These come in your kit, and they're perfectly sized. Their corners are already rounded. You don't have to do anything other than I fold mine in half because it just makes it easier. And I'm going to add my adhesive here and just make sure I have really good coverage. That's why I'm putting in that little piece of deli paper so I can go right off the edge. And then I'm just adding a really good coat of this on here. And I like to start on this edge piece just to make sure everything is nice and lined up on there. And then I'm going to kind of tuck that into the gutter a little bit. So I'm going to add now the adhesive to the pink paper here, and then as I'm closing this, I'm going to kind of tuck it down into the gutter, and then I will take off my clips here and then just glue everything down, and then I'll replace my clips, especially on those corners, again, because it's just really bulky right there. And then I'll do the same exact process on the back side with adding the second piece of seam binding, and then the same process exactly. I had a little bit of fabric that I needed to get glued down just a little bit better here. And then I will take off these clips and I will show you this pretty much the entire process. There's a million ways that you could decorate these. I just kind of wanted to stay within the color scheme of this kit, and so I will tie this up. And I left these really long because I know that this is going to get chunky, and then I can trim it down after when I know exactly how chunky it's going to be. Then I can trim it to a more appropriate length so they're not like super, super long. But that pretty much does it for me for this. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and until next time, bye.